Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Nature's Calls podcast. We just wrapped up night one of the NFL draft about 7 hours ago, and I've just finished mourning the situation. I'm kidding; it's not all that bad. But Joe Alt is the selection for the Chargers at number 5 overall. There's good, there's bad. I'm indifferent. Let's be honest, we all know that I'm not the biggest proponent of Joe Alt. I am definitely not the leader of the Joe Alt fan club, but there is a good side to all this too. So let's get into it. Let's break it down real quick. Thanks for joining me. I'm your host, Nature Erdman, and these are Nature's Calls. All right, so Joe Alt at number 5 overall. Biggest issue I have with all of it is the at number 5 overall part of things. If we wanted to tackle, I would have really liked to trade back. It's pretty clear, I would guess, that there wasn't really a trade back partner or trade back opportunity. So it seems like that's why we kind of stuck and picked. I think that the J.C. Latham hype probably was very real. And if there was a trade partner there, we probably would have gone for it. But we didn't. We have Joe Alt, who I've been on record many times saying I think is at best the 4th best tackle prospect in this class. And that I wouldn't touch him with a 10-foot pole at 5. But here we are today. And so I will officially put my stake in the ground as a huge Joe Alt fan now, because he's a Charger. So I will not, if he's a bust, I will not go brag about it or be excited. I will be incredibly sad because we had a top 5 pick and we used it on Joe Alt. And all I can hope at this point in time is that he works out and they prove me wrong, and that Ortiz is a lot smarter than me. And that by having hopefully the best offensive line in the league, at least the top 3, like that's the expectation out of this. We end up with a top 3 run game and a top 5 overall offense, and it all works out, and Justin Herbert never gets touched again in his career. That's really all I can hope for at this point in time, because that's the route we went to go. I'm much preferred a balanced offense that was really strong in the run game. What I wanted was a top 10 to 15 run game, a top 10 to 15 defense, and a top 5 quarterback, and that would be good enough for me. Now I think we're going to end up with a top 1 or 2 run game. Hopefully we can put together a top 10 to 15 defense. We still do have the quarterback, so I guess we have everything that I mentioned there, but we just won't have the offensive weapons to play the modern NFL football. We won't be able to do what the Niners did against the Lions, and be able to come back in crazy fucking fashion. We won't be able to do what Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs did with Tyreek all those years, where no lead was safe. Like, you could get up 4 touchdowns on them, and they would still be able to come back on you. And we are not playing that way. It appears, at least. It appears that we are going to play the Baltimore Raven football. That doesn't win in the playoffs when you go against a really good quarterback. And at that point, I hope for the best. I will be 100% honest. I'm not in a place of excitement or high faith right now. Obviously, I still have faith in Harbaugh. I still have faith in Ortiz. I'm never going to root for another team. Like, this is my team, and I'm way too loyal to back off of that. Like, this is a very minor thing. It's just not what I would have done. And I'll be 100% honest that I don't necessarily see the vision. But there's still a lot of talented players left in this draft available. So who knows? This could turn around. And I mean, if Joe Alt isn't a bust, if he's a top 25 offensive tackle in the league, it won't have been a bad pick. I don't know if it would necessarily be a worthwhile pick at the 5 spot, but if Justin Herbert stays healthy forever, and our run game really is that strong, then I guess I won't be upset about it. I really hope Pipkins plays really well at right guard, because it sounds like that's where he's going. Because I don't want our like third or fourth most expensive cap hit on the roster right now to be on the bench. That would really bum me out after knowing what we had to do to get under the salary cap this year and the players that we had to let go. Obviously, Pipkins wasn't one of those options. We couldn't cut him, and we would have lost more cap space. But it would be frustrating for me to see that that high of a salary cap hit be on the bench. So it's a bummer. Maybe he's going to be swing tackle. Maybe he really is going to be right guard and Sally will be swing tackle, or I don't know. We'll see. I just really hope it works at this point. I hope that we can put together a truly balanced offense to where we are not so singularly focused on the run game, that we are incredibly predictable and you can take us out of games and we lose all ability to come back in any game. That's my concern at this point, is that our offense might be too antiquated. And don't get me wrong, they're going to use Justin Herbert. He's going to throw the football. I'm not an idiot. He's going to throw the football. I just don't know if it's going to be a well-balanced enough operation to win meaningful football games in meaningful moments. And I think that we just have to now win a very specific way, which doesn't really work come playoff time. You have to be able to win that way. But if that's your only way to win is to get ahead, get a lead, play smash mouth football. But I mean, if the defense slips up and we're 3 touchdowns back, I don't see us being able to come back. Nobody has a day off now. Nobody has a day off with this offense. It has to go exactly so. And if it does go exactly so, which it has for Jim Harbaugh and multiple teams, it does work out. But this is still the NFL. And if our defense has a real bad game, or is struggling to acclimate to Jesse Minter's system, or anything along those lines, or we get a bunch of young talent in the rest of this draft and they're prone to having mistake days, like it's going to happen when you're a young player in the NFL, are we going to be able to come back from that? We're going to be able to come back from being 2 scores down. I don't know. I don't know how that offense is going to be played. And my concern is that, it's just going to be way too old school. And although it's great for if you have a lead, being able to maintain that lead, you do still have to be able to pass the ball. You have to be able to put some level of fear in defense. And I'm going to be so bummed if we're great at running the ball and they commit to the run and it opens the play action and Herbert's throwing out these beautiful pop passes to Quentin Johnston and they're just drops. Or it's Simi Fehoko out there. Or Josh Palmer gets hurt. Or Darius Davis should really be just a special teamer. We don't know these things. There's so many question marks. Not only who's going to play at wide receiver in our offense. The people that we do have so many question marks. We don't have anybody that's a lock. If Josh Palmer could stay healthy, yes. He's a legit, I think, not top tier, but he's a legit wide receiver 2. In this league, a very good wide receiver 3, I think, when he's healthy. I think he hasn't gotten the opportunity to really show what he's got. I'd take him over Tyler Boyd all day, and Tyler Boyd's legit NFL wide receiver 3. But yeah, there's a lot of question marks. There's a lot more question marks than answers. Nice thing is we're going to get a bunch of answers over the next couple days. We're going to draft a bunch of players, and we're going to see how it goes. But I just would have felt so much better if we were able to trade back. I really do. Because we were able to trade back, pick up an extra 3rd, pick up an extra 4th. 2nd would be awesome. Even if we traded back to 7, even if we trade back 2 spots, and honestly took J.C. Latham, at least then I know he's playing right tackle. There's no concerns there. I don't have to worry about a transition. I don't have to worry about him being too big and oafy. And yes, that's a concern for me with Joe Alt. I have legitimate concerns about Joe Alt not just playing right tackle playing in the NFL. I do. I don't think that he's a surefire prospect. And so that it really, really makes me nervous. It's not the right tackle that I hate. It's the right tackle taken at 5. And if you really just want to make sure that right side's short up, it's taking Joe Alt. For me, it's a high risk, high reward move. But if it works out and we have the best offensive line in the league, or top 5 offensive line in the league, then I won't complain too much. But we'll see. The interior still isn't fixed. There's a lot of draft to go, but the interior still isn't fixed. Is Pipkins moving to right guard fix that? Does Zion take the next step? Is Bozeman really going to do it? Is he going to play at that high of level? We'll see. But there's a lot of talent left. So let's shift off of Joe Alt a little bit and just talk about who's still available out there. Because there's a lot of talent. There's about 6 guys that I absolutely love. That are going to be, one of them is going to be available at 37. So, number 1, my favorite defensive player in this class is still on the board, Johnny Newton. Stand by it. He's my overall prospect 6. I had him at? No. Overall prospect 7 is where I had Johnny Newton, and he's still available. I don't think he's going to fall to 37, but again, if he does, I'm sprinting to that podium. As far as wide receivers go, obviously you feel like you should take one because we passed on it in the first, but with the talent still available, I would rather pass on it now too. Like I love Troy Franklin. I love Ladd McConkey. I don't love Ladd McConkey, but I like Ladd McConkey. I think he'd work really well with Justin Herbert and a Jim Harbaugh offense. That short route, quick out, always open type of guy. But I mean, I would take Johnny Newton over him. I would take Cooper DeJean over him. I would take Kool-Aid McKinstry over him. Tough. I don't know who I would pick between Cooper and Kool-Aid, but one of those players might be available. JPJ, I would probably take over him. And I know it sounds oxymoronical talking about the way that I was just talking about offensive line and how we're going to play football. But at this point, it's like, hey, we're committed, fully commit, do it. Make it the best offensive line in the history of the NFL. Screw it. Let's do it. Let's make sure literally no one ever touches Justin Herbert's jersey again. So, I mean, the talent's there. I'd be fine with him. I wouldn't say that I'd take Zach Frazier over those receivers. I think the need is too much there. I think the way that corner is being addressed gives me hope that corner might slip into the 3rd pretty well. Might get like an Ennis Rakestraw, Max Melton, those type of guys available in the 3rd. No linebackers were taken. That gives me hope that Junior Colson will fall or Edgerrin Cooper or somebody will fall into the 3rd. So I think that there's talent sliding, and I'm all about it. But this is just a moment where I would really have liked to be able to trade back in the 2nd if I felt more comfortable with our first pick. But with the way that talent fell, like, man, I don't feel more comfortable trading back and missing out on that tier of talent. So, like, after wanting to trade back so badly in the 1st, if we trade back in the 2nd and miss out on all those guys, I'm going to be genuinely bummed. Not mad, just bummed. Like, I'm not an NFL GM. I'm sitting here talking to you guys in front of this camera. Joe Ortiz has a really good paying job making these decisions, so I'm going to put the faith in him, but at the same time, we've had GMs in the past that the fans made better decisions then, and we were disappointed down the road. So, I mean, it is what it is. Let's just hope for the best and see who falls to us. But, man, if we pass up on Johnny Newton, if Johnny falls to us and we miss him, I'm going to be real upset. But either way, we're in a good position here. I think that there's plenty of receiver depth. I just wish we had more picks, man, because I'd love some of those guys down the road. I'd take Taj Washington and Luke McCaffrey and all these guys and just build out some wide receiver depth somewhere and just use a bunch of late round picks on guys. I would have absolutely no problem with that at this point, just to build something in that room and hope for some upside. And yeah, we're not going to throw the ball much this year. And honestly, maybe we'll open up the offense a little bit more next year, depending on who we draft. Maybe we won't. Maybe Justin Herbert will just never have a 4,000 yard season again. Who knows? But all I care about was winning a Super Bowl. So if this gets us there, then I'm happy. So that's where we need to be. and I care about winning football games a lot more than I care about putting up stats. And as much as like it's not going to be fun football to watch this year, I mean it will. It's Chargers football. We're going to have fun doing it, but it's not going to be renowned as fun football to watch. But winning is fun to watch. So if we win games, what's there to complain about, you know? Yeah, I will say I know AD Mitchell is a popular topic right now because we feel like we need to get him at 37. I will plant my flag that I still think AD Mitchell is a bust. I don't like him. My three guys that I didn't like were I originally did like all of them. No, that's the funny part. But after watching film, I get a bust vibe from him, and it's Keon Coleman, AD Mitchell, and Xavier Legette. Legette got drafted by the Panthers. I think they made a mistake, but we'll see. It feels like Mingo all over again for them, but that's not Chargers football, so who cares? So we'll see. We'll see how it all plays out. I just cross my fingers and hope to God that I was so wrong on Joe Alt and that he is a generational tackle prospect. He'll have no problem switching to the right side. He will be our Penei Sewell, and we will have two all-pro tackles on the two sides of the line. Bozeman will be solid. We'll get a young developmental center. We're going to be a top 3 offensive line. Justin Herbert will take half the amount of sacks that he took last year. He'll stay healthy the entire year, and we'll have a top 3 run game. That's all I can hope for because I'm a Chargers fan. This isn't an unbiased football podcast. This is a Chargers podcast, and I'm a Chargers fan, and all I want more than anything else is to bring a Super Bowl to the city of San Diego and Los Angeles, but that's going to make a visit to San Diego too. So it's all I care about. It's all I want to see. Nothing else matters at the end of the day. So hoping for the best. One big concern for me, I will say, is this feels like it puts a lot of burden on Justin Herbert. I know everybody talked about, like, let's see Justin Herbert with a run game. Let's see what happens. And I think yes and no, but the burden was on him to go out there and win no matter what every single time, to win games. And now that's not necessarily the case. However, we're going to be in a situation where we're good at everything else, but he has no weapons and he has getting no separation. And my concern is that, again, and I'm just protecting Justin Herbert's feelings, I guess, at this point, but this is the national media is going to turn around and be like, look what Justin Herbert still can't do. We got him a running game, and now look like what he can't do. Like, when's it going to be enough for Chargers fans? That's a concern for me. That's my boy. That's my boy, and we all know that he's a top 5 quarterback in the league. And I want the rest of the world to see that. And so I would love to gather a weapon or two. And honestly, if we have to take the lumps for 1 year, that was my original plan in all of this anyway. Jim Harbaugh got my hopes up by saying that they'll never take an off season. And I thought we were going to just put it all together this season. And it's a rebuild. We're not blowing the entire thing up and rebuilding, but it is a rebuild. That's clear. We're changing the entire identity and culture of this team. And yes, I think that will happen this year. And yes, I think we will be competitive in football games. I don't think that we're going to be a postseason threat. I think we're a year out. I think there's just too much to do. And so if we can shore up the wide receiver room and make that happen, or even like if we had a super athletic tight end or a security blanket of some sort, I would feel so much better about it, man. But like, we have nothing. Nobody for Justin Herbert to throw this ball to on a consistent basis. Or even just like a solid spread offense of starting caliber players in the NFL. Like, it's just, if we kept Keenan and had like a Tyler Boyd and a Josh Palmer, and we tried to use QJ in some fun new ways, and then we drafted like a Lad McConkey, then we go out and sign a Hunter Renfrow, we'd have the most mid-wide receiver room ever, and I'd be super okay with it. Honestly, we could still go out and sign Hunter Renfrow. I think he's still a free agent. So Like moves like that would make me feel better, knowing that there's someone who can get short yardage separation, just someone who can get open, just so these 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7 situations that eventually we're going to run into, I don't feel like Justin Herbert literally has to be Superman and run the ball on every play. And I don't want to see us, nobody's open in the wide receiver corps, so we're throwing dump offs to Gus Edwards or J.K. Dobbins or whoever we draft or whatever the hell happens. Like, I don't want to see that. I got sick of that with Austin Eckler because the play was breaking down. Different situation. Offensive line pressure came in, so Eckler had to take a little pop out and take it as far as he could and see what happens. And there's play out of the slot all the time. Different situation here, but like, you can't just count on someone getting open, and you can't count on our receivers catching balls. So I just feel like there's a tremendous amount of onus that's going to be put on Justin Herbert, and the national media will be able to target him quickly if we don't win games, because Harbaugh will have done his part, and we have a run game, and Justin Herbert's protected, and what's his excuse now? So that's my concern. We got a lot of draft to go. There's a lot of talent on this board. I've been saying it from the get-go, that this is one of the deepest drafts I've ever seen. That COVID year, I think just adding that extra year of eligibility really kind of plumped up the overall girth of this draft. And there's just a lot of talent, especially through like the 5th round. But like there's 6th and 7th round players that I like. But yeah, I'm very in between. Like there's just so much that needs to be done on the defense. There's so much that needs to be done on the offense. Talked about it a little bit before, just the other day, but like we had 2 holes at corner, 2 holes at receiver, 2 holes at linebacker, a hole at center, not starting center necessarily, but at least a developmental or backup center. There's too much to be done. That spending pick 5 on a right tackle at a position that, although wasn't a blue chip caliber player, it was a player that we had under contract that was a starting in the NFL caliber player, who had a down year and under different blocking schemes and things like that had the possibility of turning it up a little bit more. And if he didn't, then we reset next year and we'll be in the draft position to do so. And so I just feel like it's a poor allocation of resources, especially for not trading back. It just... Now, how do we address the rest of the holes in this draft? Christian Fulton's a starting corner for us. He doesn't feel like a starting corner in the NFL for me. Like he could turn it around, but it's just high risk, high reward. Like he could absolutely turn it around and have a great year, but it's not somebody that feels like a legit plug and play player. Like I need at least one more starting caliber corner. You need 2 wide receivers. Like Josh Palmer, QJ, you need 2 more for depth. Darius Davis and Simi Fehoko, your deep depth, but they shouldn't be counted on for regular snaps at all. I would have liked to draft a running back in this class. I don't know if that's even on the table now. Who's linebacker 2? We probably need to at least get a linebacker 2, and then we're still counting on Dan Henley. Like there's just, I would have liked to double dip or to dip in at the defensive tackle position because it's such a talented draft class, and I just don't feel like we have the resources to do so. So I hope it works out. I hope for the best. It's just not... It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel extremely hopeful. It might not be a bad decision long term. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that this is the worst thing that we've ever done. I just... For a lot of reasons, it's not what I would have done. And it's not just one reason. For a lot of reasons, it's not what I would have done. So... Yeah. Tomorrow is going to be exciting. Tomorrow's going to be really... No matter what, if we stay at 37, there's going to be 1 to 2 players that I really, really like, that I had solid first-round grades on. And if we don't take one of them, we take someone else, we'll probably be not in the best mood tomorrow night either. But if we trade back, I wouldn't love it. But again, I'd rather accumulate picks because of the situation that we're in. So we'll see. It's a crapshoot. Wish we could buy a couple more picks, make me real happy, but it's not the world that we live in. But we'll see how things go. And at the end of the day, Joe Alt, welcome to the Chargers, baby. Thanks for coming, guys. Have a good one.